Oh my god, they did it again. We just got a new release out. The Warning, another live release from August 29th, 2022, live at Teatro Metropolitan, CDMX, Mexico City. This is incredibly exciting to me. I've seen 11 seconds of this video to make sure that my OBS was working properly with it. Money. Now, I'm Canadian. I'm in West Coast Canada. Money is a huge hit in Canada for like a year now, or close to a year, I guess. I'm not sure if it came out on the Mayday CD EP or if it came out on the Error album, but I think it might have come out on Mayday. It was before I even knew who The Warning was, but it was streaming on satellite radio in Canada and top 10 here. So this is going to be awesome. I'm really, really excited about this. I'm going to react with you. I'm going to go through it with you, and then afterwards I'll go back and try to find some interesting things about it, and we can talk about this together and enjoy it. Alrighty? You guys ready? Are you ready for The Warning? Money live, pro shot. Here we go. Yes. This is so awesome. All right. We got to go back here. That was incredible. First of all, yeah, let's just talk about this briefly. That was incredible. They had so much fun with this. Man, oh man. Compared to some of the cell phone shot videos I saw when they started their tour last year across Canada. And again, I was a doofus and I missed them by 1 week in my hometown here, which really sucks. Like, I performed in the bloody theater that they performed in a week before they were here, or a week after, I forget which. But either way, like, what a numbnuts I am. I was so busy worrying about my own show. So now I know, don't be a numbnuts. But in the meantime, these guys have been touring like crazy, getting experience with big name artists, you know, Hailstorm and all these guys, 3 Days Grace, Muse. It's just incredible, the bands that they've been opening for and touring with and partnering with. And we know also that they were working on new material at the same time during that period, before they even started the tour, not to mention during and after. So they are always busy, always creative, always learning, always inventing themselves, reinventing themselves, improving, changing, maturing, and literally growing up in front of our eyes. And they've come from being very, very gifted songwriters and musicians and performers that were well trained and worked very hard, but were young and relatively inexperienced in the touring world and the pro audio, pro music world. Not inexperienced themselves, but inexperienced with working with other musicians and just the life experiences that pro musicians go through. They went from that years ago. I mean, still tons more experience than most people ever get, but compared to someone who's been doing it for years and years and years and going through it all, certain things you just become accustomed to and certain things rub off on you, and you learn these little tricks, and you also develop a sense of security and fun as long as you love what you're doing. And the nerves change to being energetic. And I know that they've always had really positive energy and stuff like this and really good, but there is a huge difference in what I'm seeing here and hearing here to what I saw in some of the cell phone videos of the tour. And on tour, they were excellent. From all that I've seen and everyone I've talked to, they were warning fans constantly, every single show, new people becoming fans constantly, and their fan base just blown away with how much they'd improved at that point, from being already their favorite band to being like a band that was equal to the stars on the stage with them. You know, again, 3 Days Grace, Hailstorm, Pretty Reckless, right? Like all these just legendary groups. Arguably better in some cases, depending on the song and the performance and what your personal tastes are. Certainly holding their own in every single way to artists that have been doing this for years and years and years and years and years, and with major success behind them. So take that level. Now jump it up to August of 2022. This is still only months later. This is at the end of their touring. It's not even now. This is like months ago from now, previous to now. They already have improved so much that Money, a song that they knew really well, rather than getting bored with it, they were just launching into this and having a great time and putting on a show. And of course, they know they're filming this and all this stuff, and they know they're doing this for huge theater full of fans. What is it, 3,000 fans per night? But with all that going on, they're just having fun, and they know the songs intimately well, and they know each other intimately well, and they can relax and know that they're going to do it right. And they've never, even if they do make a mistake, they laugh it off. They literally laugh it off or just ignore it and go on. They're such pros. But I heard nothing. I heard nothing. Not a single fret. Not a single thing that was like anything other than pure energy, pure rock and roll, pure music coming out at us. I am incredibly impressed right now with the performance of Money right now in this video we just watched. Let's start watching it again and we'll talk about bits of it. Let's go right back.
Hey, oh.
Right off the bat, the harmony at the beginning, I think it's 3-part. Pretty sure it's 3-part harmony, not 2. I believe it's I think it's Danny's on the high 5th, and Pow's probably on the root, and Ali's down an octave. Uh, right. And I don't know. I'm not sure how it works for that descending line, how they break it up. But I'm pretty sure in the first one, that's how they break it up. The ascending line that goes up. The I think that's 3-part. Maybe they double up something on the descending line. But tuning, power, evenness, solid as a rock. Everyone from like, Alejandra to Pau to Danny. That was an awesome, exciting entrance. And I mean, if you're a hardcore Warning fan, then you've seen lots of different versions. There's lots of different performances. There's different mixes. Pow singing lead in the radio station, everything, right? We've seen all these different things. One of the women being sick on tour, and they were sort of covering for each other, and they took turns being very sick in Canada. I felt so bad for them because it's my country. I love it here, but it is darn cold at times. So all these different events, and they always pushed through and always did amazing jobs. But this one, man. Hey! Oh! You know what it sounds like? It sounds like it's Danny, Pau, and Ale, like I described for the first one, and then just Danny and Ale for the second half, for the descending line. That's what I get out of that, but I could be wrong. Oh, and man, this song features just drums and bass and lead vocal a few times. And I don't know if you've watched my other videos, but I love when guitar drops out and it's just drums and bass, or drums and bass and lead vocals, or drums and bass and harmony vocals. It's an incredible sound if you've got a really, really good rhythm section. The rhythm section is generally the drummer and the bass player, or the drummer and the bass player and any other pure rhythm instrument, just percussive type rhythm instrument that has to have like setting the beat sort of stuff going on. In big band jazz, the rhythm section can include guitar, because guitar is normally going ka-ching, 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 doing chords, sevenths and ninths and diminihixolydians. But in this case, the guitarist is the upper half of the instrumentation, so is not just a rhythm instrument. And even though she does complex rhythms and is part of the rhythm section often, she's also doing leads frequently. And in this song, it's more lead than rhythm guitar, honestly, that she does. More effects and raunchiness that she adds on top of the rhythm section. But regardless, it's a 3-piece band. Rhythm section is Alejandra on bass, Paulina on drums. And the bass tone here, look at that photo too, by the way. That this could be an incredible, like Spectre ad or the Warning ad right here. That bass looks and sounds so great, that instrument. And her execution, as I've said so many times before, is textbook perfect bass playing. It's excellent and simply without flaw. It is very, very well executed. So that's why we hear such perfect playing and perfect tone from the bass here. And of course, the guitar tone. We know she's going through Kemper now. So Danny switched. She went Line 6 for years, Line 6 Helix, which is what I like. They're fantastic units. You can program your guitar tone, pedals, everything out of this stereo mixes, multiple outputs, panning, timing down to the millisecond, multiple amps, multiple cabs, all virtual, but like perfect models, and everything about them is amazing sounding if you know what you're doing. If you're a sound engineer or you're a real tech head nerd, then they're great. Danny, God love her, she's a tech head nerd on guitar, and she always loved working with that stuff and spending time with it and really knew it well. But she went to a Kemper at some point. I think it was basically the beginning of the 2022 tour. That's what I understood, but maybe it was before that. Kemper's fantastic. It's an incredible system also. Kemper allows a professional musician with great microphones and real experience with how to do this, to make Kemper profiles, to make a profile which is a copy of your amp rig. Your guitar tone from the input to the amplifier to the sound is picked up as into a specific microphone at a specific location, at a certain setting on the amp, which is great, but it isn't really, you can't then mess around with it and adjust it and do all kinds of other stuff. You can do things to it, but not to the same way that a modeling system does, where you're reinventing the wheel from the beginning, kind of. But it does reproduce recorded tones perfectly. For her, I'm assuming, I haven't never talked to her, so I don't have the opportunity to ask her, but I'm assuming that she started using the Kemper because she had these amazing recorded tones and wanted to be able to tour with them exactly sounding perfect, and it works great for that. And it's a tech geek thing also, and it's fantastic, and I'm glad she enjoys it. The tone she has here is great, so it's working for her. It's terrific. I personally would choose to use a Helix because I like to build things from the ground up without having to have real amplifiers to model or to use other people's ideas as real amplifiers. I'd rather be able to adjust the bias controls and dirtiness of the tubes and so this like you can do in advanced modeling. But her tone here, you can't argue with it. It sounds huge and great. And here, as anyone who's watched her stuff also knows, that she tends to use like a multi-pan system of like multi-output thing, where, and I think she does with the Kemper as well, where there's one that goes to her stage amp, so because you have to have a live guitar amp so you can get sustain and feedback and tone that works a certain way. You have to have an output to the PA live, and if you're doing things really pro, especially with a three-piece, you need to sound bigger in life. You need to have stereo guitar outs, and then she frequently used to use at least a different sounding effect on each side, different sounding amp even on each side. So left and right in the crowd, right? So I don't know if she's doing that here. Here it sounds like one just amazing singular guitar tone. So I don't know what we're hearing exactly, but it sounds beautiful.
It's a cruel thing that we learn to do.
Okay, look at this now. Talking about the next step. Pow on drums, of course, awesome. Doing her classic money beat, just kick and 2 hands on the snare. Roughly 10-15 milliseconds apart. It's like a really close together flam drum thing where you do that. Generally left just a smidge before right, because most of us are right-handed and that's how we learned it, but whatever. So just going kick, 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 snare, kick, snare, but really, really close together. Boom. It's basically boom, chick, but the chick is slightly imperfect intentionally by using 2 hands to give it that extra huge sound without even using the hi-hat for or with your foot open, or Pow's favorite thing, which is using her far right floor tom as her rhythm instrument. Doom doom ching doom 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 ching, right? None of that. Just kick and snare. To her left here. To her left. Okay, so to her left here, over on that side, we have her laptop. I believe she uses a MacBook, but I could be wrong. Regardless of the OS, it's using Ableton. At least that's what she's always used in the past, is Ableton Live, which is a full DAW digital audio workstation. People have recorded, produced full-length albums. Many people have done that with this application. And she takes the stems from the studio, which is all the mixed sounds of their album, but not fully mixed down to stereo, mixed down to multiples. Like there's the guitars all go into one, the bass goes into one, all the keys, if there are any, go into one, the background vocals all go into one, the lead vocal maybe goes into another, percussion goes into another one, and possibly audio cues, count-ins. At the beginning of a song, you might literally hear a recording of Pow or Danny saying 1, 2, 3, go, and cueing notes as well to give them an idea of how to start a song out. Like for this one, I mean, they have excellent pitch, these women, and at least one of them has been reported by her sisters to have perfect pitch, but it doesn't mean that you can't make mistakes live. And also, regardless of how good they are, you need to have absolute security. So probably for a song like this, at the beginning, the 3-note chords would go out to their headphones so they can hear it, or at least a tuning note so they can figure out what to get from it or whatever, right? Anyway, that also has the click track, and her click tracks, she creates them herself. They tend to be rather dink, 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 which is a default click track. They tend to have like a full groove, like doom, doom, jing, doom, 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 jing, doom sort of sounds going on in them. That's how she likes to do things. Sometimes very complicated rhythm things with a lot of like synth bass going on, like not toned, but just like a synth doom, 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 doom thing. Because in her, she talked all about this in this 1.5 hour long video or 2 hour long video where she gave a coaching session, like a live class, basically at a college, and she demonstrated the sounds. Her inner ear, they use inner ears for listening to the monitors. Her inner ears are very good quality, much better than the crap that I have, and they have a lot of bass in them. And she says she can basically actually feel it down her neck. So that way, even if she can't hear properly because of the sounds around her and just the energy and how exhausted she is, her neck's going dunk, 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 dunk. So she knows where the tempo is no matter what. So even if you can't hear each other, you know that you're playing on time, and you know what the cues are, and you know the song well enough that you will always play it right, even if you can't hear your sisters performing with you. So that's what this does. This also has different cue mixes for everybody, so that each person can have like more Danny or less Danny, or more Power, more Ale, or whatever, right? So that's cool. Has all the different songs. She can do the song orders. She also has a foot pedal. She used to use a Roland trigger pad, but now she uses a Roland floor pedal, like the Roland hi-hat controllers kind of thing, but they're designed for triggering events. And it's one of her left foot floor pedals, and it will stop and start the song or the next song, jump to the next cue point. There's another pedal she has, I believe it's on the right side, but I don't know what for sure, which rewinds or kind of restarts the song, or goes back to the previous point, or it just stops it and allows her to start over, whatever, right? Something like that. So she's triggering this whole thing, and this runs the show. Not only does it run the audio show, it also runs the visuals. Did you see the screens behind and all these different videos they're doing? They all have different videos going on, and they're timed to the music. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, go on.
We all gotta pay for something. We all gotta do for nothing. Happiness has its price. Life isn't more in this business. Rapacity, moving the illness that we will learn to love.
So expressive.
Are you worth your weight in gold? Going once, going twice, sold. It's all about that.
For anyone who doesn't know the song, it's all about that cold hard cash, hun. Yeah, the lyrics. And so all the fans know that they're singing cold hard cash, hun. And Danny's so enthusiastic with that. It's awesome. But yeah, I was going to say, so Danny's facial expressions are legendary, as well as all of her visuals and motions that she does while she's performing. So are Pow's in a very different way. Danny's eyes and stuff are intense and expressive, and you can feel and see the emotion that she's getting across. Well, you can with Pow too. It's just that Pow's emotions tend to be intensity and power and lasers aimed at your brain, into your soul. Maybe that's just me. And then of course Ali's expressions. Let's take a look, see at Ali for a minute here. They have, I saw something where she was the forefront. Well, let's just look here for a sec. It's not in the forefront.
Oh, ahead and cry, shallow pulls up, but diamond news that you don't.
That's just typical Ali grooving, right? She's having a great time. She knows the song super well, and she's happy, and it's nice to see. Ala is a real performer. She's literally the one in the group, being 3 years younger than Pau, who's grown up, almost 3 years younger, who's grown up in a rock band. I mean, they all grew up in a rock band, but she was like a single digit old in this band with like a gazillion views online and performances starting and going to recording studios and stuff and going to major music schools. A major music school, Berkeley. So that's just crazy. So for her, she had a different experience, I would imagine, in a sense, than her big sisters, especially Danny, who's 5 years older than her. Danny was like mature enough to be like, yeah, I mean, like mature enough, 13 or whatever, mature enough to say like, yeah, I want to start a band with my sisters now. I think this sounds really cool together. And Paulina was like, well, she's a drummer, so she needs to play with someone. They all play piano, of course, very well, but you know what I'm saying, right? That was the chosen instruments now. And then as Alejandra started playing bass, she's said in an interview that she played for, like, in one of their big documentary interviews. I think it was from pretty recent, like 2021, 2022, maybe 2022. The interview where they're in the warning cave and Pau's kind of sitting a little further forward in front between her two sisters, doing most of the talking. And maybe it was Mayday in the Making. I don't know. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it was Alejandra said that she played bass for a month. Oh, one of the interviews she said that. And then joined her sisters in the band. At like 8 years old, I think she decided that she finally came to that conclusion after watching their video where they did that Kiss song, that she was 8 or something. It's pretty crazy. So her attitude is a little different, I think, than her sisters. She went into this because it's really fun and because she's joining the band with her sisters and forming this and making music and just grew up doing this. And it's kind of like, I mean, there was a decision involved, but it's also just who she is, kind of, playing bass and being Alejandra, just kind of our one-on-one, right? So she doesn't, I mean, she puts on a performance for people. She puts on the visual performances for people, of course. It's calculated, worked out. She's practiced this for years. But we've seen her whole life. We know that when she was a teenager, well, she's still a teenager, when she was 13, 14, doing the big concerts, she moved around a lot and was very free form and very inventive and just kind of going through it and experimenting and feeling good. Even when she was 12, 11, doing this stuff, she was already doing that. As she's grown older, she's become a real pro about this and kind of knows the moves that work well and fit well with her. But she used to be, even just a year before this, not even a year before this, she was kind of like working them out still because it was their first big tour, basically, right? Like 2022, I guess, maybe 2021, 2022. Yeah, 2022 was their first big tour, like continuing tour, big 100 shows or something in the year. That's a big tour. At the start of it, it was great and she was terrific. By the end of it, look at her now, right? Let's go back.
That we will learn to love. Are you worth your waiting?
And Pau's BG vocals down a sixth from Danny. Pau can get down there. So can Alejandra. Actually, so can Danny. They can all get down into my range.
Going once, going twice.
And you hear that? Whatever the notes are. That's a synthesizer, probably played by Pau, but who knows? One of the three of them played it in the studio, and they have that in the track that's running on her computer there.
It's all about that.
Might not be a synth. Actually, I think there's a guitar, not a synthesizer, but whatever. It could be either. Oh, nice jump. Alex doing the moves and stuff with Danny.
Go ahead and cry, shallow pools of blood, diamond news at your door.
Do you hear the timing of the bass playing in this? It is so consistent and so spot on. Never late. Never rushing, but never late. just right there on the money. Ooh. Did you hear that? Was that Pow went, ah. That's awesome. She made a sound and it came through the mic. It's like, ah. So awesome. Can't help herself. And here, I've listened to the song a ton. I've played along to it while I'm driving a lot. I'm hearing things in the bass part here that I've never heard before. Either she changed it, which is possible, or more likely we're just hearing much more clarity here than I ever heard in the studio recordings. This recording is so good. The audio mix is perfect. And the bass, I've been so impressed with the way the bass comes through in this. So here she's going ding 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 or something like that. Let's listen to it.
I'll never ask for forgiveness. I come with God as my witness. I pray you wash my hands. It's sad and it's cruel and the world turns. Soldier soul, that's how it works. We're human after all. Are you worth your weight in gold? Going once, going twice. So it's all about that.
Danny in rockstar mode. You know what's a live recording when the guitarist bumps the neck on the guitar and it goes ba-doom bum. We've all done it, and it's rock and roll. That's what makes this stuff real. That's what makes a real concert exciting. Everything's real here. There is that one little that sort of range of synthesizer, or more like a guitar with an octaver and a chorus on it or something like that. That's in the track, but that's literally all I've heard that's going along with this. This is more raw than the earlier recordings I heard of them doing this live too. They've taken out some of the other stuff. The studio version, of course, had some weird not weird, but studio-ish stereo effects and some of this, and it's all gone here because this is all live.
Going twice, so it's all about that.
And mentioning also, you can hear how all the stereo effect on her guitar. So she does have like a different cab to each side for this. Even on the like sound, you know that's the real guitar. It's coming through like that. Very cool.
Hey! Go ahead.
Danny and Ali both went, "Murr." That was awesome. I think that's Alejandra on the lower note vocally, and Pow doing the higher one. Yeah, nice work, women. That is fantastic. I don't know what to call them. Men, I would call men, so I'm calling them. Nice work, rock stars. The drummer doing the higher octave, the bass player doing the lower octave vocally, while Danny's doing her little rant about how much she wants money. Likes it.
I want that. Give me that. I want that. Go ahead and cry, shallow pools of blood. How long will it last? How long till you learn? Another cycle seems to be buried in diamond news after
that's how it was written in the original, but I'm hearing cool kick timing from Pow here. Dun, go dun, dun, go dun, dun, go dun. It's funkier that way. I like it.
How long will it last? How long till you would? Nothing's that costing to be buried in diamond news at your door. Hey!
Nice. The vocals are perfectly in tune with the last note. Using our power squad and their cymbals to meet them. So good. Wow. Awesome screams from the crowd. That is just killer. Let's go back.
It's all about that!
Get your arm out of the way, dude. There we go. Trying to get a screen grab here. Okay, that was really fun. Thank you so much for watching this with me. This is available on YouTube. I will include the link in the video. It's on the official Warning channel, and I am really, really loving this. This one is clearly, in my opinion, better than the studio version. And again, it's nothing about the studio version that wasn't already like a perfect 10 in this one. The song was incredible from the beginning. But the energy is higher. They've risen higher. I'm very, very happy that this is out. Support the band. You can hear other songs. They have a Patreon, and if you join the Patreon up to, I believe, the 3rd level or higher, I'm not sure where exactly it starts, but then you get to hear other songs. Every time they release one of these publicly, they also release one privately that cannot be shared, and it's limited access. But those people at a certain level in Patreon get access to twice as many videos as the rest of us for free. And if you pay up to a certain level higher than that, quite an expensive level, then you have access to this whole concert, and you have for quite a long time already. So everything I've heard about it is amazing, and every time I see a new video come out, or two, or whatever, it confirms it. These are the greatest hard rock group out right now. I'm separating hard rock from like metal. There's a lot of incredible J metal right now that I'm loving, but as far as just pure hard rock, current, young, writing their own stuff, completely a real group, these are it for me. They are the greatest currently right now. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you guys coming. Please subscribe to my page. I'm trying to get more into this, and I know I haven't posted in the last couple of weeks, but life intervenes sometimes. But I'm going to try to be a little more consistent, because with material like this, how can I not? Have a good day.